Tonight on Piers Morgan Uncensored, Israel at war, the uncensored debate. Muhammad Hijab is a Muslim philosopher, scholar and YouTuber whose first appearance on the show was viewed by more than 8 million people. Rabbi Shmuley Boteach has been called the most famous rabbi in America. He is the international best-selling author of Kosher Hate and The Israel Warrior. Both men are passionate, both men are influential, and they both have vehemently opposing views. Tonight, they go uncensored and head-to-head. We're bringing together two very opinionated, passionate, influential people, very opposing views, and we're going to have a proper debate, and we're going to see if somewhere there is perhaps more that we can agree on than we first imagined. So thank you for joining me, gentlemen. We tossed a coin before we came on air tonight, and actually you won the toss, and you said you want to go second.
I defer to my brother.
And the way this will work, Mohammed, we have 4 sections of this debate, and at the start of each one, you'll both get 1 minute uninterrupted to say what you want to say about each of the themed titles of each block. So you go first, and at the end of your minute, you'll hear a sound, and when you hear that, you end, and then Rabbi Shmuley gets his chance to speak. So the first theme is a simple one. Are Hamas to blame? You have a minute, Mohammed, from now.
From one perspective, Hamas started the battle because, obviously, from October 7th, even they themselves title it Tufan al-Aqsa or the flooding of al-Aqsa. But from another perspective, if you really look at it from an international law perspective, we're talking about 1967, we're talking about Security Resolution 242, in which it is actually stated that Israel is in a belligerent state because they're occupying the West Bank, East Jerusalem and Gaza. And they have been, so therefore the war has been continual for a very long time according to international law. But let's remove Hamas from the situation altogether. Let's remove them. What do you have? You have the West Bank. And what do you have in the West Bank? You have 187 children who have been put in prisons. They have been put in prisons, according to bassem, without charge. You have 44 children before October the 7th that have been killed before October the 7th in just 2023 alone. So if you remove Hamas from the equation, what you have the West Bank. You remove dominance from the equation, you have the West Bank, and what do you have? You have occupation, you have settlement, which you condemned, rightfully so. You condemned that on your show. The settlement's there.
OK. Rabbi Shmuley, 1 minute to respond.
Resolution 242 in the UN doesn't mention a single thing about aggression or aggressor. That is a total fabrication, and it speaks about disputed territories. But let's be clear. The occupier of Gaza is Hamas. They won an election in 2006, had a civil war with Mahmoud Abbas, took the Palestinian Authority officials, threw them off buildings, killed Muslims, killed Arabs. Mahmoud Abbas is afraid to go to Gaza. He's terrified of Hamas. He hasn't been there since 2007. And let's be clear, Hamas is an abomination to Islam. Sultan Salah al-Din, the greatest Muslim conqueror of all time, after whom the main artery in Gaza is named, he said that you have to allow all prisoners to be redeemed. He would never hold hostages. And remember, Islam is about fair treatment of prisoners of war. Hamas beheaded Thai non-Jewish workers. You asked in your last appearance here for real first-hand sources. I'm the first-hand source. I saw it in Kibbutz Alumim. They raped women. They had sex with dead women's bodies. They are evil, and do the right thing and call them evil.
All right, we've had a minute each. OK, we've got a passionate start. Mohammed, let me ask you about Hamas.
I want to first, before you do that, I want to commend you, Piers, honestly, because bringing me on for the second time, I have to commend you. And the fact that you actually condemned the settlements is very good. But people want to know, do you think the IDF are a terrorist organisation?
No.
You don't think they're a terrorist organisation? OK, well, if you look at the UN definition of terrorist organisation, they say killing civilians for political
gain. So you're asking my opinion?
No, but if the UN definition, according to the UN definition, it's killing civilians for political objectives. Why are they not terrorist organisations?
Well, you've asked me a straight question. I don't think they are a terror organisation.
So when you see babies like this, the ones who kill babies like this are not terrorists.
It's horrific.
So the people who kill babies like this are not terrorists.
Well, let me respond.
Yes.
Let me respond.
It's not your turn.
You can both get into this. Here's my response to that. And I thought carefully about this. I'll be very honest about my own feelings. I have a real moral quandary about this because as a father, I hate these scenes of kids being killed in Gaza. It's horrific, right? We all know it's horrific.
But are they a terrorist organisation, though?
I'm about to explain to you what I think my position is. My position is, after what happened on October the 7th, it was so barbaric, so disgusting.
So you can kill children?
Well, no, what you can do...
That's exactly what terrorists say, by the way.
Let me answer your question.
This is not a debate. This is someone else becoming the host of the show and now interviewing you. I thought we were being interviewed. Mohammed, you and I are being interviewed. You're not here to interview him.
You're going to have your chance.
Mohammed, you can put it down.
Don't make him lose control of his own show. You do this all the time. I'm not going to let it happen tonight.
All right, Rubbish, let me answer...
Please have respect for the...
No. Stop interviewing the interviewer and be respectful. And be respectful.
Let me respond.
Tell me, is it a terrorist organisation or not?
No.
Why not?
I do not believe so.
They kill civilians for political objectives.
You have to let me answer.
Go ahead.
Okay. Here's my answer to that. When Hamas did what they did, two things. One, Hamas knew exactly what Israel's response would be. They knew they would come incredibly hard back.
I don't absolve them.
Wait a minute. I'm not absolving anybody.
I'm not absolving them.
Yeah, okay.
I'm saying the West Bank is... Where's Hamas?
I know.
Where's Hamas?
You have to let me answer.
You've got 44 children killed like this in the West Bank.
This is ridiculous.
Wait a minute, Rabashwari. Let me just answer you quickly.
Go ahead.
I believe Israel has a right to defend itself from after that terror attack.
But can they kill children?
Wait a minute.
Can they?
Wait a minute. Particularly after the Hamas spokesman only last week said that they want to do this again and again and again. That's an existential threat to Israel.
Why don't they fight them man to man? Man to man. Fight them man to man. Why do you have to kill children?
Wait a minute.
Why do you have to kill children?
Let me answer you, Mohammed.
Why?
Let me answer you.
Of a ratio of 100 to 1, by the way.
Let me answer you.
100 to 1 ratio.
Let me answer you.
Go ahead.
Otherwise, it's pointless.
Go ahead.
So, I agree that Israel must defend itself. I agree they have to get rid of Hamas because Hamas is wedded to an ideology of existentially removing Israel.
Is this acceptable?
Wait a minute. I'm coming to your answer.
Is this acceptable?
I'm coming to your answer.
This is not
This is not even a conversation.
Wait a minute.
Listen, I came all the way from the United States for this debate.
Let me finish.
And he will not let anyone else speak. And if that's how these shows work, no. You are rude, you are a bully, you just are trying to interrupt people. I'm going to have a chance to speak, or there's no point in doing this show. He did this last time and you allowed him to, but I won't allow him to, because I will never be bullied by a bully.
At the moment,
let me be clear.
Wait a minute. No one's allowing me to answer your question.
Go ahead, sir.
And it's this. I believe Israel has a right to defend itself.
Okay.
I agree that they need to get rid of Hamas.
Who
are terror groups.
In this way?
Well, here's the quandary for me morally, right?
Why is it a quandary, though?
I'll tell you why.
With Hamas, it's not a quandary,
I'll tell you why.
It's a quandary.
Because in war, when you declare war, as Britain did with the Nazis...
100 to 1 ratio.
No,
100
of course,
to 1.
There are
combatant to non-combatant ratio.
A far higher number of children in Gaza, proportionate to population, than almost anywhere in the world.
Piers,
so when they go after Hamas...
Give me a chance.
Very sadly... Mohammed, let me finish.
This has become ridiculous. No.
Very sadly...
You are the one who insisted on equal time. I never did, but you will not respect equal time.
I will come to you literally in 30 seconds.
He's going to ask you a question.
In 30 seconds, I'll come to you.
He's going to come to you afterwards.
Let me finish, please. I am in charge here, Mohammed. So my final point on this is, unfortunately, in war, civilians
100 to 1 ratio. 100 to 1 ratio.
Yes.
100 to 1 ratio.
Yes, they get killed.
No, not 100 to 1 ratio. It's an unacceptable ratio.
Get killed.
Piers, listen.
In you come.
You know, Piers, can I say respectfully, and I mean this as no insult, I'm amazed that you're intimidated by this man. I feel, well, with all due respect,
if I can speak,
he brought me in the second time.
I wouldn't bring him back if I was intimidated.
If I can speak.
And he raises a very valid question, by the way.
No, he does not, because I have. Before he did this debate, he went on X on Twitter and said, I'm only doing it if there's equal time. And then he is violating that. I never asked for equal time. I just want to be heard. But he won't even let me be heard. Let me explain something to you. You said in a video the other day, and you can look me in the eye, you said that Jews are now trembling. Muhammad, I am not. No, don't interrupt me. I am not trembling. It's all on my Instagram page. Now, you see this yarmulke? It means that I represent something. I'm an ambassador. You're an ambassador of Islam. You are talking about a religion that started the world's first universities, educated women. Fatima started the first university in the 9th century in Fez, Morocco.
Irrelevant.
Now we have a man who says that he's a representative of Islam.
He's meant to be speaking to you, right?
He goes to Speaker's Corner. He speaks about whether 5-year-old girls are old enough for sex. He says that gay men are dying of AIDS as a punishment from God. And I'm sorry to say this to the listeners, that blood is gushing from their backsides. They're better off. You know what it is? Because you are desecrating a great religion. Now let me tell you why. Let me tell you why it appeals. Why it's here. Because he will defend. I will. He will defend Hamas's butchery, savagery. He doesn't care that Hamas is an abomination to Islam because Islam.
But he hasn't done
the children in Gaza are dying because Hamas uses them as bulletproof vests.
Okay.
The United States and France and England said yesterday that the Al-Shifa hospital is a military base.
Okay.
It has a tiny veneer.
Let him have his minute.
And it's a tiny veneer of emergency rooms.
Okay.
A minute.
But underneath all of it is a military base.
You have a minute
and let me tell you
speak.
something. If it's true that any of these countries care about the Muslims in Gaza because they believe what he's saying, that Israel's killing them, this is a map of all the countries that took place last week in Riyadh to save the Palestinians of Gaza from Israel. Do you know how many? That's Israel, a tiny thing. You know how many of them took in even one Palestinian from Gaza? Zero, nothing.
All right.
Look at that map. Because they
Stop
want
pointing,
to.
stop
The
pointing.
Arabs want to see.
All right,
No, I'm
Rabbi
pointing.
Shmuley.
The Arabs want to see
Stop
Hamas.
pointing.
Don't intimidate me. Don't bully me.
Okay,
Thank you,
let me ask you-
Don't intimidate me.
Stop pointing.
I'm not
Guys,
afraid of
I've
you.
got to be able to ask
Thank
questions.
you.
It's a debate.
Let him have
come
one
back.
minute,
Let me ask you
said
one specific question which he raised, which I don't think actually is your belief. I don't think you have defended what Hamas did on October the 7th.
Yeah, I haven't.
I think you share our...
Are they evil?
Are they
Unless
evil?
I'm wrong.
Are they
spoken
evil?
about this
Are they
before.
evil?
Stop
Are
speaking.
they
Is it me
evil?
or him I'm
Are they
speaking to?
evil?
Stop
Rabbi
speaking to.
Shmuley,
Stop
Hamas
speaking.
you're now
evil.
doing
Stop
what you
speaking.
accused him of doing.
Stop
so
speaking.
let me ask you, what is your view of Hamas post-October 7th?
I think that they, just like anybody else, have to be examined, have to look at all the...
What's your
pros and cons.
opinion about them?
Yeah, I think that... Look, here's my opinion. Let me be straightforward about this, right? Anybody who kills civilians, anybody, whether it's the IDF, I'm consistent in this manner. If it's proven beyond reasonable doubt that these people have killed civilians in both of our faith traditions, in Islam and Judaism, in the Quran it's mentioned, in the Prophet, he said it himself, you cannot kill a woman, you cannot kill a child, I condemn them. I condemn them. That's what I do. Straight away, whether he's Muslim, whether he's non-Muslim, whether he's Christian or anybody else. I've already said that. So I'm not being inconsistent here. My question is, if that is exactly the barometer that we're using, if that's the moral reasoning that we're using, then we have to say, look, if you have a 100-to-1 ratio, and that's what it is, a 100-to-1 ratio. And do you know how I got this figure? I got this figure from the IDF themselves because they have reported to
but let me ask you this. Does Hamas deserve to stay in power after what they did?
I don't think we should have Hamas in power. What I think we should...
Okay.
No, let me tell you...
So how do you get rid of them?
We should have a Palestinian Authority with bigger armies and airports, with proper tanks and with airplanes like every country in the world.
You know what? You might be right. But
absolutely. They won't allow it.
How do you get
the Israelis won't allow that.
How do you get rid of Hamas?
What you don't do, I can tell you for a fact, is try and kill 30,000 of them with a 100-to-1 ratio. Because if you do that, then you're committing genocide. Because you'd have to kill 3 million Palestinians.
Rabbi Shmuley?
Do you even know the definition of genocide?
I haven't said genocide.
What's it? You just said it.
No, I said if you...
What is the definition of genocide? What's the definition?
I said if you do it.
You always claim to be an academic. You're always touting your Oxford credentials. What is the definition of
conditional?
genocide?
Conditional.
Genocide is where...
Genocide is where... You'll be genocidal.
Genocide is where...
You
target an ethnicity for extinction. Ethnicity, side, murder.
Yes, if you do it. If you kill 3 million Palestinians, are you genocidal or not? If you kill 3 million Palestinians, are you genocidal or not?
Don't speak over each other.
There are 1.8 million Muslim Arabs who live in total peace in Israel as equal citizens. In fact, Israel practiced reverse discrimination against the Jews because the Jews are conscripted to fight Hamas. So... If Israel, excuse me, no, you will not interrupt me. If Israel, you will not interrupt me. You will not interrupt me. You will not interrupt me. You will not bully me. You will not interrupt me. I am not afraid of you. Stop saying the Jews tremble. Now, let me be clear. Let me be clear.
We're getting nowhere if you shout over each other.
Well, then you need to control your guests, with all due respect. Okay, he said he said equal time, and there's no equal time. Now,
there's no equal time.
If Israel was interested in a genocide of the Palestinians, why do they have 1.8 million equal Arab Muslim citizens who are in the Israeli Supreme Court, who are 1/3 of the medical profession? Do you know that an Arab judge put the president of Israel in jail for accused rape? That was Moshe Katsav. That's how little Israel's an apartheid state, genocidal state. This man sitting next to me, Mohammed Hijab, will not distinguish between self-defense when Hamas comes to brutalize and murder your people versus when an army like Britain, like France, stops, retaliates to simply protect their citizens. You don't believe the Jews should have a right to defend themselves? Say it outright then say it.
The Jews have the right to defend themselves.
They do.
Yes, they do,
So
of course.
that's why we have to go into...
Everybody has a right to defend themselves.
That's why we have to go into Gaza to stop Hamas.
Yes, they can go into Gaza and stop Hamas.
But...
No, they can go in, but don't... No, hey, hold on. Let me tell you my position. Let me tell you my...
So they can go in, thank God.
He asked me a question. Can I answer it? Yes, they can go into even fight. Even Abu Ubaidah, the general of Hamas, he said, "Nahnu fi intidharikum" in Arabic. We are waiting for you. That's why he's being said. Hold on. You've asked me a question.
Go ahead.
They do have a right. What I've been advocating all along is face-to-face confrontation. What I'm against, hold on, excuse me. What I'm against is a 100-to-1 ratio, because if you have 100...
We're going to come to this in block two.
All right. Okay, fine.
Hamas is hiding under hospitals.
Okay.
What face-to-face confrontation? Hamas is shooting children who are going south.
I'm okay with face-to-face confrontation. I like it.
Block two is exactly...
It's the honourable way.
Block two is exactly this question.
Go ahead, let's go.
My only observation,
he hasn't had
Rabbi Shmuley, so far, you're being more personal and ad hominem than he is.
With all due respect, I think that's extremely unfair, because every time I say anything... No, listen.
And you keep answering for him, and in fact, when you actually ask him questions,
because
he gives you straight answers.
If Mohammed Hijab wants to be a representative and ambassador of Islam, then he has to take responsibility for his position.
I don't want to be any of that.
He actually said that Islam believes in death. You're not going to beat us because we want to die. We're prepared to lose thousands of people. Is Islam really a religion of death?
We're taking a break.
You are a poor ambassador of your faith.
Hey.
You believe in martyrdom.
Of course I do.
Do you want to be a martyr?
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to die fighting the Jews?
I didn't say Jews. Who said Jews?
Okay, you want to be a martyr where? What does it mean? Martyr means someone who dies for his faith.
Muhammad told us, "Man qutila duna malihi fahuwa shaheed." Whoever dies defending themselves, defending their wealth, is a martyr. No.
Do you want to die defending Islam, but do you want Islam to be a religion of peace?
Hold on. This child for us is a martyr.
You're right.
Do you agree or not?
Because Hamas is using him as a human shield.
Really?
Yes, Hamas is hiding behind him.
Let's go to the next section.
Condemn Hamas.
All right, let's time out.
Come on, man.
Let's try not to talk over each other, because the viewers can't hear it, right? I don't mind the passion. I don't mind the debate. I don't mind the fire. I do mind if we can't hear what you're saying. It's pointless.
Let's do the minute.
Let's go to the second topic, right? This time,
has he had his minute, by the way?
Rabbi Shmuley, you will go first with a minute to say what you want to say, and then Mohammed Hijab, you'll get yours. So the theme is this, and the question is this for Block 2. Has Israel gone too far in its response to the October the 7th terror attacks? OK, Rabbi Shmuley, you have a minute starting now.
I just came here by taxi and passed a statue of Winston Churchill. That's in the lifetime of our parents, OK? He is the greatest British statesman of the 20th century. You know what he did when he had a genocidal threat, knowing that Hitler wanted to eviscerate, annihilate Britain? He carpet-bombed all of Germany, Dresden, Essen, Hamburg. Israel has not even gotten close to that. Israel does not send its Air Force to carpet bomb cities. It sends in its military. I have a friend who died, six children, 39, because he was personally trying to stop a Hamas terror tunnel. Israel is surgical. Israel is only going after the fighters. Israel has opened humanitarian corridors for the Palestinians to go south. Hamas shoots them and makes sure they don't go. Hamas builds its military structures. Right, Shifa Hospital is this much hospital, and it's this much military. They love using Palestinians. And that's why they've stolen their money. They got about $16 billion from the international community. There isn't one bomb shelter in Gaza. They don't care about the civilians at all. Israel's doing the right thing.
Mohammed, you have a minute.
What I'm saying is the 100-to-1 ratio comes from the following figures. We know that 10,000 civilians have died. Of them, according to the IDF, as reported by The Guardian, dozens, they say, about 60 Hamas died, which we're being liberal by saying 100-to-1 figures. For every one Hamas, you have to kill 100 civilians. That's effectively what we're saying. If the trajectory continues as it is, then you have to kill 3 million Palestinian civilians in order to kill 30,000 Hamas fighters. If you want to extinguish them, eviscerate them, annihilate them, destroy them, you have to do that. Now, you have Herzog, who is the president that you interviewed, saying that all Palestinians, they are responsible. This man is being more slippery. He's being more slippery than the lubricants that he sells in his daughter's sex shop. And that's the reality of the situation.
Did you really just say that? You know, you seem obsessed with Jewish sex. It's bizarre. Yesterday, you actually spoke about Ben Shapiro's wife.
Yes,
you actually you said to Ben Shapiro, your wife's a carrot. Well, you're more of a man. Is that what you're trying to say?
All right.
Then you said that Jews have BDSM. You're speaking about sexual lubricants while people are dying. You know, Mohammed, get your head out of the Jewish bedroom. It's really bizarre.
Let me
be clear.
No.
Sexual lubricants? How embarrassing.
You sell dildos, don't you?
Can we get it back?
Can
we get it back to the
topic?
You speak about 5-year-old girls being ready for sex.
Come on,
listen, let's go back to the issue.
Let me ask a question.
Why are you shaking? I've got a vibrator in your pocket.
Come on, it's a serious debate.
I think he's got one of his daughters vibrating.
Come on, leave it, please.
You are just humiliating
We're going to cut all this
back
stuff.
to the issue.
We'll cut all this stuff out. So there's no point.
Why? Why leave it? People should see what he represents.
There's no point abusing each other personally.
Okay, Piers.
I want to stick to the debate.
Let's get to the debate.
You don't want to do it? We'll end the debate.
Let's get to the debate.
Right, let me ask Mohammed a question. Right. I don't disagree with you that so far it seems to me, obviously, a fact that many more Palestinian civilians, innocent people, are getting killed as retribution by the Israelis for what happened on October the 7th. That's indisputable, right? Their argument is that they're going after a terror organisation, Hamas, and unfortunately in war, as Rabbi Shmuley correctly said about what Churchill did in World War II.
Churchill was wrong.
Churchill
was wrong.
Was he a war criminal?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Churchill was a war criminal.
Yes, he was. Churchill was a war criminal.
All the British
Let me
people
do
who
the
lived there
question.
were war criminals.
Okay,
Let
me do
and
the
George
question.
VI was George VI war criminal.
All of them war criminals. Yes, of course.
So anyone that, hang on, Rabbi Shmuley.
War criminal.
Let me ask. So let me get this straight. You think
collective punishment?
You think Winston Churchill
was a war criminal
in standing up to the Nazis
by killing the
who
babies?
Killed 12 million people.
I believe he was a war criminal.
That by doing what he did was a war criminal.
By killing in Dresden and Hamburg. By the indiscriminate killing, collective punishment. My morality says that's impossible.
Okay, that means the British people who
that's
supported him and voted him in, they were
my
also...
morality says that's impossible.
Just a second.
That's why I believe.
But the British people...
You believe he was a war criminal?
Yes.
So therefore, your belief is that no retaliatory action...
No, you can retaliate to the man, not to the babies.
Tell me a war in history...
Yes.
...where civilians haven't been killed.
No, I'm not saying civilians haven't been killed. It's
just
about this ratio.
Or
it's about the ratio. It's about the ratio.
What is the ratio?
What about the ratio?
100 to 1 is unacceptable.
Actually, morally,
100 to 1 is unacceptable.
Actually, morally,
101.
Okay,
101 is an invention.
Hang on, Rabbi Shmuley. So let me give you a ratio.
Yeah.
How many people did the Nazis kill?
I don't know.
You don't know.
We know they killed 6 million.
They killed 12 million people.
I don't know. We don't know.
Including 6 million Jews.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So
12 million
how many died in Dresden? How many civilians died in Germany? Do you know?
I don't know exactly.
Right. So you don't actually know what you're talking about.
I do know what I'm talking about because I know in Dresden and Hamburg.
You said it's about you. Unless I'm wrong.
Yeah, go ahead.
Unless I'm wrong.
Yeah, go ahead.
You said it's to do with the
ratios.
The ratios.
Yes.
But you don't know the ratios.
I know for a fact.
You call Winston Churchill
what are the numbers?
Dresden and Hamburg.
What are the numbers?
Wait a minute, Rabbi Shmuley. When you call Winston Churchill a criminal for basing it on ratios, you don't even know what they are.
No, I know. There's difference of opinion among the scholars.
No, there isn't.
There is difference.
Tell us the opinions. What are they? Tell us what they are.
Hold on. There's of course.
How many in Dresden?
Excuse me. Stop speaking for me.
How many in Dresden?
Am I speaking to him or you?
How many in Dresden?
Whatever the number.
You don't know
if
it all.
it's indiscriminate, I'm against it.
No, he doesn't.
Rabbi Shmuley, you respond.
Dresden's about 25,000. And at the time, the Germans were saying 250,000. We know it's about 25,000 today. Let me be clear. Winston Churchill was the greatest statesman of the 20th century. He saved the world from Nazi terror.
Yeah.
That you could live in a country that is only around today because of the bravery of that man showing no gratitude is the height of...
Stick on topic. Stick on topic.
And to call all the British people who defeated the Nazis...
Stick on topic.
Stop interrupting me. Who defeated the Nazis, war criminals, his parents, all the other people, war criminals...
Let me ask Rabbi Shmuley a question.
Wrong. No, let me be clear. Let me be clear. Muhammad Hijab trades in falsehoods. 300 to 1? What are you talking about?
100 to 1.
And now he says the Jews are about to kill 3 million Palestinians.
I didn't say they're about to. I said
the fact that this man considers himself an Oxford academic. I was a rabbi at Oxford University for 11 years. This is a travesty.
Did you graduate from there?
This is a travesty.
Let me ask you a question, Rabbi.
Did you graduate from any university?
I have a rabbinical...
Did you graduate?
Let me answer.
You're excommunicated.
Let me answer.
Well, you're excommunicated.
Let me answer.
I swear you're excommunicated from the rabbis.
I am a rabbinical...
Honestly,
can I speak?
This is pointless.
Go on.
Rabbi Shmuley, is there a limit to the number of civilians in Gaza that Israel can kill to try and eliminate Hamas?
That's a good question. That's a great question.
Yes, there is.
Thank you, but let me ask you.
Not even one. Not one beautiful Palestinian child should have to die because Hamas kicked out Mahmoud Abbas.
That wasn't my question.
And not one should have to die. What the answer to your question is that Hamas, if they surrender unconditionally, then
which they're not going to do.
Okay, fine.
But is there a limit?
Then let them allow all the civilians.
Is there a limit?
Israel said that all the civilians can leave. All the civilians should go south. They begged them, and that's something that militaries never do. Churchill did not tell the people in Dresden, "Come on," and you came with all your notes.
We get the point.
I'm not here.
We get the point, Mohammed. I get the point.
This is all proof that he can't debate me. So he has to use these images. Debate me. We didn't ask you to come on with all your exhibits.
Rabbi Shmuley, let me ask you a question. A member of the cabinet in Israel was actually quoted as saying that nuclear weapons were an option that Israel could use. No one's ever confirmed Israel has nuclear weapons. It's long been suspected. That seemed pretty clear confirmation.
Why are you against nuclear weapons?
Hang on.
If you're not against Dresden, why are you against nuclear weapons?
Let me ask the question.
No, but why are you against it?
I've done this before, this job. Let me do it.
Go on.
Okay? So when that guy says that, if you're living as an innocent civilian in Gaza, what the hell are you thinking? That an Israeli government member threatens the use of a nuclear weapon, which would obliterate pretty much all of Gaza and everyone in it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the question. If that were true, why hasn't Israel used nuclear weapons against Nasser when he invaded?
It's true.
Well, hold on.
It's true this guy threatened it.
And the answer is no. I know the guy, and I spoke to him about it. His name is Amichai Eliyahu. Israel has never carpet bombed any Arab.
Hang on, Mohammed.
1967
Now.
1967 was preemptive.
He was asked a question by a provocative interview, and he said, well, if you're going to bomb the same thing, it was like it was a Mohammed Hijab type. You want to kill all the Arabs, 3 million people, just drop a bomb. He said, well, if you want to drop a bomb, drop a bomb. He was being dismissive and stupid, and he put out a statement the next day saying that never in history would the Jews ever even contemplate doing that. Let's remember one thing. The only place in the Middle East, one second, Piers, the only place in the Middle East where Arabs have any freedoms, Israel. The only place where they vote openly, Israel. The only place where Palestinian women can dress the way they want, Israel. And let's be clear, when Mohammed Hijab gets up and says that we Palestinians want to be a religion of death, you know, I just got a haircut coming here by an Arab barber here in London, and he said to me, I hope you defeat this guy because he doesn't represent us. We want to live. We want to have good lives. We want to be religious. We want to eat halal. But we don't want to die for martyrdom. You are not a Muslim. You're an Islamist.
Let me ask Mohammed a question. Let me ask Mohammed a question. Hamas has 240 hostages. Hamas has 240 hostages they took, including babies, young kids, grandmothers who survived the Holocaust. I mean, an unspeakable further criminal act. We can agree, right?
Of course.
Why should Israel agree to any ceasefire so long as those hostages are still being kept hostage?
Look, my position is very clear. They should fight man to man on the ground. On the ground.
Well, they are.
That fighting.
That's exactly what they're doing.
That fighting, no one can. This is
Mohammed, that's exactly what they're doing.
I know.
Man to man, they took hostages.
Excuse me.
They took babies as hostages.
He's asked me the question.
They took infants as hostages.
Let him answer the question.
You're getting excited here. I know it's your sexuals are inclined. You're the sex rabbi.
Now you're back to my sex life.
You're getting overexcited.
Get your head out of my bedroom, Mohammed. Beneath you.
He's getting excited with me.
Let me ask the questions. You guys answer them. Mohammed, answer my question. Why, if you're Israel, would you ever agree to a ceasefire if those hostages aren't released?
I'm telling you what my position is. My position is man-to-man combat.
Which is what they're doing now.
No, that part of it is understandable. Do you understand?
That's what they're doing.
No problem. But what I think is not understandable, what is not acceptable, because you said, what's a proportionate response? That's the question you keep asking everybody. My answer to you is a proportionate response is one where in which the ratios are not 100 to 1.
That's your invention.
Excuse me, please.
Where does that come from? What's your source?
Okay,
Tell me the source. Tell me the source.
IDF.
The IDF. Yeah, sure. Tell me when did they say it?
They said,
I know all the IDF spokespersons.
I know
Jonathan Conricus. Daniel Hagari said what? When?
Okay, so let me explain.
No.
Excuse me.
When did he say we're killing Palestinians 100 to 1?
10 days ago, and it's mentioned on a website. I'll tell you
the truth is, they don't.
He never said this is pure fabrication.
Let me finish. You asked me a source.
Which website?
You asked me a source.
Which website?
Let me ask you a source.
Al Jazeera?
No.
Is it Al Jazeera?
You've asked me a question, right?
Okay.
Are you scared to hear the response?
Go ahead.
Okay, the response is as follows. The Guardian has reported that the IDF have said that in terms of the numbers of Hamas that have been killed, I'm answering this question.
I know.
The Hamas that have been killed, they say, quote unquote, dozens. Now listen.
Hamas or civilians? You said civilians.
No,
wait a minute.
You said civilians.
Wait a minute.
I'm telling you where I got the 100 to 1 ratio.
Mohammed.
100 to 1 ratio comes from
the numbers have
invented it.
10,000 civilians. The numbers 60. It's actually more than 100 to 1.
As soon as you call him out on anything, he has no sources.
No one can hear what you're saying.
Okay.
Let me respond to him.
This is a blood libel.
Let me respond.
The Jews have a right to respond
I'm about
to a blood
question
libel.
him.
It's a blood libel.
Here's the reality. I read that report. That was about at least 2 weeks ago,
Yeah,
right?
10 days, yeah.
The numbers have changed a lot.
Yes, they have.
Israel now believe they've killed a lot more Hamas. They don't know exactly how many, because actually, how do you tell on the ground
By the way, Piers,
to the Hamas fighter and a member of the general population?
Do you know, according to the IDF, and we've done a study on the names that they put on X, they had 1,280 names that they put on X, and according to Haaretz, they put, Haaretz is, as you know, is a left-wing newspaper in Israel, they also put the names of those who have been killed. Guess what? According to them, 340 military have been killed, which means Hamas's ratio of combatant to non-combatant is 3 to 1. Imagine Hamas is doing a better job in protecting civilians than Israel. 3 to 1 versus 100 to 1.
I would say that Hamas, by what they did on October the 7th...
100 to 1 versus 3 to 1.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Ordered, by doing what they did, they ordered de facto the disintegration of northern Gaza that we're seeing.
Of course.
And
all the civilians
and the
suffering.
deaths
Have you seen
and the deaths of thousands of civilians.
Let him finish.
They knew what was going to happen.
I agree with that.
So that's why they should go.
In 2005, Israel unilaterally withdrew from Gaza and allowed, Hamas won an election in 2006. They could have built Singapore. You know what they did? They took larger foreign aid per capita than all of Europe received from the Marshall Plan. And look what France and Britain, look how beautiful London is. They took that money and they bought bullets and bombs. They did not build hospitals, not schools. They stole it from the Palestinian people. Ismail Haniyeh is worth $4 billion.
I don't care about
Khalid Mashal is worth $4 billion.
Why are you talking about him?
Call him an evil criminal. You're afraid to. Because he won't. See, he will never condemn Hamas because
he has condemned.
No,
Hamas.
go ahead.
I've heard him do it.
Excuse me.
No. He condemned Hamas's attack. He's never condemned Hamas.
Well, let me ask you: do you condemn Hamas?
On what basis?
Here we go. See,
hold on.
Do
you accept now?
Let me ask you a question.
Every answer is on what basis? On what this? What's your source?
Even if you ask me, if you do condemn the IDF, I'd say specify your context. In what exact context
do you defend Hamas as a terrorist organization that just went and killed 1,200 people, burned them alive, beheaded them, and took 250 hostages? Do you condemn them or not? Do you condemn them or not? Get your head into the debate, and do you condemn them or not? See, this is a debating tactic.
It's 2-on-1 now.
Let him answer.
Let him answer.
It's 2-on-1. It's become 2-on-1.
Let him answer.
You're not a victim. Stop the victim, but now it's 2-on-1. Stop the victim. You love portraying yourself as a strong man. Now you're a victim, it's 2-on-1. You probably could take 2-on-1. So answer it. Answer the question. Is Hamas a terror organization you condemn?
Yes, is that something you and your daughter
Is Hamas a terror organization
that
you...
It's a reasonable question because you asked me, is the IDF a terror
organization? Beautiful. I'll answer your question directly. Hamas is as much a terrorist organization. No, Hamas shouldn't be called a terror organization if the IDF isn't. Why? Because if it's either both or not.
This is
either both or neither.
Okay, but just to extrapolate your position, because you believe the IDF is, then you're also saying that Hamas is.
Let me tell you my position.
Say it.
I'm not going to speak.
Rabbi Shmuley, let me get the answer.
The unholy Shmuley won't let me speak.
Right, I'm asking you a question.
My answer is
the first rhyme you did the whole time. Maybe we could be friends.
Let me ask
you again.
Given you've already stated you believe the IDF is a terror organisation.
Yeah.
Am I to assume that you believe...
Legally or morally?
Well, hang on.
Go on.
Am I to assume that you believe Hamas is now?
No, this is my position. But you have to give me 10 seconds at least to answer, right? Legally, I think you shouldn't call Hamas a terrorist organization if you're not calling IDF a terrorist organization. That's my position.
But you do both.
Call them terror organization. Hold on.
Let him answer.
Hold on, let me finish. Because as we said, the UN definition of what a terrorist organization is to kill civilians in order to achieve a political objective. However, on a moral and theological, philosophical level, I agree with Rosalind Higgins, who was the justice of the International Criminal Court, right? The Court of Justice, ICJ, a British justice. By the way, she was a Holocaust survivor as well. She was Jewish. And her position is that she believes that the word terrorism or terrorist is actually useless. And she says that it's... I'm putting to her...
Can you answer my question?
He's going on for 10 minutes just to evade the question.
Let me finish. So I'm answering your question. So I'm saying that as a moral construct, I think it's a neo-colonial social construct used by people in order to label some people as terrorists and other people as not. So as a moral category, I don't designate it as a moral category. As a legal category...
Do you believe, you personally, Mohammed Hijab, do you believe that the IDF and Hamas are both terror organizations?
I think yes. If you say yes to IDF, you should say yes to Hamas.
No,
If
yes.
you say no to IDF,
I'm asking you what you
Hamas
believe.
is a terrorist organization.
What you believe.
If you say yes to IDF, you can say yes to Hamas. Yes.
No, I'm asking you what you believe.
Yes, I believe legally, according to the definition, if you say yes to Hamas, you can say yes to the IDF.
Piers, we could go on for the next.
We are going to the next.
But if you say no to the IDF,
for the next
you can't say yes.
It's fine. We're going to the next. We're going to the next block. But that's interesting.
But morally, I don't believe the category has any weight.
No, but
morally, it has no designation.
But you have made your position clear, which is that you believe they're both terror organizations.
I believe that according to the law, absolutely.
Okay, and that's interesting to me. Okay,
but I have to say,
wait. Let's come to
when
the
you
next.
call the IDF a terror organization, the IDF keeps 1.8 million Arabs alive in Israel.
100 to 1 ratio.
The Hamas, this is invention. It's a fabrication.
Let me move on to the last
Get
block.
more pictures out. It's unbelievable.
Rabbi,
This is how you lose a debate when you need to bring. I brought nothing with me.
It could be like this.
No, my son.
He could be dead like that.
My son is in the IDF. You're here in the safety of a studio talking about how you want to do martyrdom. You're really risking your life here, Mom. You're big talk.
Your son could be dead right now.
You attack Ben Shapiro's wife.
Your son is an IDF.
You actually posted a clip saying that. With someone else saying that Islam teaches you how to get women to listen to their husbands. This is all false bravado, false machismo. If you're a real man, go to the Middle East and fight. What are you doing in a television studio?
Let me move to the last one.
You should be there. You have the right to fight with the IDF.
No, I'm not.
You use your son as a human shield.
You try to bully people in debates, and it's being allowed in this.
He's using his son as a human shield.
I want to move to the last ironically themed subject. Is peace possible? Okay. Not on this basis, right? But we've got to try and get to peace. So you get a minute each again. Mohammed, you'll go first this time. So you get a minute from now.
Okay, so I just want to say that this man is...
No. Is peace ever possible?
I've got a minute uninterrupted.
Is peace ever possible?
Can I speak uninterrupted?
No, you've got to speak about the subject.
I can say what? Well, he's been attacking me.
Don't attack him personally. We're not going to use it. It's pointless. Okay. I'm going to take it, just for the record, we'll put it on YouTube so people can see it all in context, right? But on my show, I'm just not going to have half of this, what I thought was going to be a serious debate, taken up with you two personally abusing each other. It's pointless.
Excuse me. Von Bismarck said, I repay people with the currency that they pay me with. Right. If he's going to come with ad hominems, as you've acknowledged, I can come back with
ad hominems. But you did, and you shouldn't have done, because you had the high moral ground.
Ad hominems?
No, I believe
this man is bringing up Jewish sex non-stop in this entire debate. Where have I even mentioned that?
On the personal stuff, you've been as bad as each other. Let's start again. You get a minute from now. Is peace ever possible? Go.
Justice is a prerequisite for peace. In South Africa, when the apartheid system, which we know for a fact Israel is an apartheid state because it has laws like the right of return, which only allow Jewish people to come into the country. And if they convert, by the way, to Christianity or to Islam, they are stripped from that right, it meets completely the definition of apartheid as per Cornell Law School and according to the UN Convention 1973. It's an apartheid system. And as a prerequisite of an apartheid system, you have to be a racist. If you support that, you're a racist. No doubt about it. So number one, 1973 apartheid law. If the black South Africans have been displaced, by the whites, and then they would try to come back into their country and they were not allowed, and then you ask them, is peace possible? That's not the question we'd be asking them. We'd be asking them, is justice possible? And that's the question that we're going to be asking. Because he can sit there and talk about all these things where the IDF, his son Mendy is being attacked vibrated by the rockets, and he's selling him and his daughter selling vibrators to the public.
Unnecessary thing at the end again.
I hope you keep that in.
Rabbi Shuri, 1 minute on, is peace ever possible?
Of course. I revere countries like the United Arab Emirates, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, where I've spoken several times. I am safer as a Jew wearing a yarmulke in Dubai and Abu Dhabi than I am on the campus of Columbia University or even Harvard these days. The Mohammed bin Zayed is just an incredible leader. I saw in the Gulf states the Islam that Mohammed Hijab rejects, but the Islamic world embraces. That's why they made peace with Israel. It's a technologically advanced, tolerant, forward-looking, very traditional, very religious Islam. And that's why they've made peace with Israel, and peace will continue to be made. All of these countries are praying for Israel to destroy Hamas. Because Mohammed Hijab is an outlier. He's an extremist, and his views, as he represents them at Speaker's Corner of things about women being subject. Okay. But let me just be clear. All of the Arab countries want Hamas destroyed. And the proof is, when they had their conference in Riyadh last week, they did not even once call to bring in any evacuees because they want Israel to establish a more democratic regime in Gaza, which they will do. Israel's winning this war.
Here's my follow-up to both of you, right? Just give me a very, very quick snapshot of, in 20 years' time, how peace could have been achieved. Very quickly.
Okay, the first thing is, when Israel withdrew in 2005, almost 20 years ago, if Hamas had not come to power, if they had taken all the international aid that they got, tens of billions of dollars, peace would have been achieved by building businesses, entrepreneurship,
how do we get
schools.
there now?
Okay, we get there now by destroying Hamas, making sure that there's democratic elections, let the Palestinian people, not Mohammed Hijab, not Shmuley B'Tayach, not Piers
I mean, you
Morgan,
both agree Hamas should be gone, right? We can agree on this, right?
We agreed that there should be a bigger Palestinian Authority with armies and
I'll come to you in a
airplanes.
moment, Mohammed. On that, we do have agreement.
And the way we have peace.
They should have tanks.
In the history of the world, no two democratic
and rockets
powers have ever gone to war. That's why, since the end of the Second World War, there's been no war here in Europe. We need to see a democratic Gaza. Hamas won an election in 2006.
There's a war in Europe now, by the way.
Correct, Ukraine. Because it's against a tyranny. No, I said no two democracies ever gone to war. Putin is not a democracy. He's a tyrant. In the history of the world, no two democracies ever fought a war. We have a democracy in Gaza.
So what does peace look like in 20 years?
Peace looks like the Arabs voting for their rulers, voting and backing them, seeing Israel as a partner, not being humiliated that because of this tiny little red dot surrounded, that's humiliation.
Two-state solution?
I'll tell you. If two-state solution is a Hamas state wanting to eviscerate Israel,
he doesn't believe in it.
But he doesn't believe in a two-state solution. He believes in a final solution. That's what really scares me. You don't believe in a two-state solution. You believe in a final solution. The way you speak about Jews, you believe in a final solution, and it scares you.
Do you believe in a two-state
solution? I love Jewish people.
If that second state is Mexico
Jewish
and
people
Canada,
are fantastic people.
If that second state is Gaza, then of course not, because it'll just become another genocidal enemy wanting to wipe Israel off the map.
That's pretty unequivocal. He doesn't really want a two-state solution.
I don't want a two-state solution. That's a terrorist state to destroy Israel.
I personally believe this whole question should be left to the Palestinians of what kind of solution they want. However, having said that, this man has written in his book, A War in Israel, that is the settlements.
I didn't write a book called The War in Israel.
It's called the Israel Warrior, something like that.
Thank you. Thanks for plugging it.
Fantastic.
I appreciate that.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
In that book, he writes that the issue of settlements that me and you both condemn, Piers.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, we do. He doesn't condemn it because he sees an ancient biblical reason to be in that whole land.
Oh, I think Arabs and Israelis should be able to live wherever they want. I want Arabs to live in Jerusalem. I want Arabs to live in Tel Aviv. I want Jews to live there. I don't believe in a unitarian Israel. I don't believe in Arab. I am so proud that Israel has 1.8 million Arab Muslim citizens who are protected by the IDF. He calls the IDF a terrorist. They are defending Muslim lives.
What you should be less proud of is the rapid expansion of these settlements on the West Bank.
That's
it has been incredibly divisive.
Do you condemn that?
It's been, in my view, illegal. It's been declared illegal.
Illegal by everyone's view.
Well, Piers,
human rights.
There are many things I'll defend Israel about. That is indefensible.
But let me answer. If you go to places in Judea and Samaria and the West Bank,
why are you calling Judea and Samaria?
Because those are the biblical lands.
Who cares?
Why do you call something Arabia? It's where the Arabs are from. Judea is the Jews are from. You don't know history. It was always Judea and Samaria. The West Bank is the West Bank of a river. We don't call California the West Bank of the Mississippi River. Now, let me go back.
Call it Canaan.
If you go to the Barkan Industrial Park in Judea and Samaria, you will see, I've met the Palestinians, I've interviewed them. They are paid 20 times the salary working for people you call settlers. They want them there. It brings civilization. It's only jihadis who don't want it. It's only jihadis. And that's why you're saying...
That's not true.
Yes, it is true.
That's not true.
I've interviewed them myself.
I know many Palestinians who definitely do not want them to continue the settlement.
You know Palestinians who want to live under Mahmoud Abbas with no democracy?
Let me come to Mohammed.
Afraid to criticize him and throw him into jail?
Mohammed.
Yes, my friend Mohammed. Go ahead, Mohammed. Please. You're wearing my favorite blue color. Of course I'll let you speak.
Fantastic. For that reason? Brilliant.
Thank you.
What, just because I'm wearing the blue?
My mother loved that color and she passed away
I thought it would have been because of Israel, because you...
Oh, that's right. You wore the Israeli colors today.
Mohammed,
can we shake hands?
No, please. I don't want to, because your hands are shaking. Your hands are shaking.
Sorry, but I mean, look how peaceful.
Why
don't you wouldn't shake my hand?
No, I'll shake hands with you.
You wouldn't shake my hand?
After what you said today about me, I can't shake your hand. But
after what you said about my sex life, and I'm shaking your hand.
Stop. I just want to say.
You won't shake my hand.
Let him speak.
You won't shake my hand.
Let him speak.
That's really sad. I guess there will be no peace.
You know, what he said there is a little bit telling, because you know the blue colors in Israel and all that kind of stuff. He defended Dershowitz, which was Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer, for that very reason, because he's a supporter of Israel.
I defended Dershowitz.
Did you go?
Dershowitz and I fought over him going to Qatar. You don't know anything.
You wrote it on the Observer.
You wrote on the Observer. Your abysmal ignorance is shocking. Me and Alan Dershowitz had a huge fight over him defending Qatar.
Did you go to the island?
Come on, guys. Get back to topic.
Did you go to the island?
Mohammed.
Mohammed. Anyway,
20 years time.
Mohammed.
20 years time. No, I don't care about Alan Dershowitz. I know Alan Dershowitz. We're not going to use the stuff about Alan Dershowitz. Forget it.
What is your obsession with sex? I don't get it.
I'm not going to use any. Both of you seem totally obsessed with sex.
Unbelievable. Well, I wrote a book called Kosher Sex for Marriages. I didn't write it to get into other people's bedrooms.
I don't care about either of your sex lives. Okay?
He seems pretty interested in mine.
20 years' time.
I'm not interested.
20 years' time, what does a potential peace look like?
I don't know. But that's a speculative question, to be honest. You're asking me a hypothetical. You
Two-state solution?
I don't know. You're asking me a hypothetical question. I asked you a hypothetical. You said I don't do hypotheticals.
I wanted to give me hope.
Why did you not answer my hypothetical question if you're asking me a hypothetical question? The Belfast question. Why?
Huh?
Remember, I asked you the Belfast question and you didn't answer it.
I don't think there is. The only parallel.
Why didn't you answer that one?
Because they're different situations.
No, but it's hypothetical. You're asking me a hypothetical now. Why?
Well, you don't have to answer. I'm just asking you.
No, but why do you have a double standard?
I don't think asking you how peace might look like is hypothetical.
No, it's talking about the future in a hypothetical.
How would you like? Let me rephrase it. How would you like it to be resolved, this crisis?
Okay, fantastic.
Okay?
Okay, look. Yeah, let's look at history.
River to the sea. That's how you want it, right? No Israel.
Let him answer. Don't answer for him.
Honestly, you'll be surprised to know this. And people talk about, you said this, and I have to correct you. I looked at the Hamas charter, Hamas themselves, yeah? In Article 16, even they say you can have, in Article 31, they say that you can have peace between, they can have a shared land between Christians, Muslims, and Jews. They even say that. I think the most radical elements, everybody you want, the jihadis, these one, that one, no one actually wants the extermination of Jewish people. That's a lie.
Actually, that's not true.
The Hamas charter. Wait. Now, let me speak.
I'll tell you
the Hamas charter. Piers, you know, let me speak.
I'll tell you
Hamas charter calls for the Hamas charter says that behind every single tree and stone where a Jew.
That's hadith of the Prophet.
Now you're saying that the Prophet Muhammad said that? It says that every Jew has to be murdered. How can you possibly deny that?
That's hadith.
You know, you have. What's the hadith say?
The hadith says in the end of it's an eschatological hadith.
Yes, go ahead.
It's an eschatological hadith which says that on the end of times there'll be a war. And there will be trees and stones that say behind me is a Jew killing.
So Muhammad is saying that the Jews should be killed?
This is a hadith which has been misinterpreted.
What does it mean?
But anyway,
what does it mean? What does it mean?
No, it means that it's an eschatological. It's not an imperative.
What does it mean?
It's not an imperative.
Are you obligated to kill a Jew according to the hadith? You're not. Okay.
I'll tell you.
But they don't
pick and choose. You pick and choose.
No, excuse me.
Let me
ask you a question.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question. This is a theological question, so I'm answering you. This hadith is called an eschatological. You know this because you're a theologian. It's an eschatological hadith. It's not talking about.
It's not literal.
It's not like 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse number 3, where it says, "Go and kill the men, women, children, donkeys, and oxen." Which, by the way, Netanyahu quoted.
No, that's not true.
He quoted the Malik. He said you can kill them 1 minute. It's not like that.
See, this is the blood libel of saying the Jews want to.
Can I get a word in here?
But Piers,
let me put a point to. I'm going to put a point to Mohammed.
Of course.
I'll tell you who wants the absolute annihilation of every Jew they can get their hands on. All the Hamas terrorists who crossed the border on October the 7th, who gleefully recorded it, boasted about it, and the Hamas official, wait a minute, and the Hamas official spokesman who only last week said they want to do it again and again and again. If you don't think Hamas are wedded as an organisation to the annihilation of Jewish people, you are living in
their charter. In their charter it says that they will murder in London.
Now
they've showed us what they want to do.
That I agree with. Hold on. Let me tell you why I agree or disagree. Both the IDF and Hamas, on paper, say they don't want the annihilation of Muslims and Jews.
No. The Hamas charter says that's not true. I'm not going to. The Hamas charter says explicitly that every Jew will be murdered by Hamas. They are a genocidal charter. Yes, it is. And you're not. You're lying. I'm sorry. It's not true.
Nobody can hear either of you. Right, the point is, in my estimation, after October the 7th, Hamas are now a openly boastful, genocidal bunch of terrorists.
Yes,
hold on.
With terrorists calling their parents and saying, I killed 10 Jews.
I just said
the Likud Party in 1999 had the charter, and in it they said they want the whole of Israel, including, as he believes, the West Bank and Gaza and everything. If we are going to, because there is...
Did they say they would kill Arabs? God forbid, Arabs are equal citizens. Arabs will be equal citizens.
Let me finish. They're not equal because there's apartheid laws.
No, there's no apartheid law.
Law of return.
The apartheid
law of return.
So let me explain that.
No, let me get to the point.
You can go to Portugal and Spain and show that if you have ancestry, they give you citizenship. That's Israel. If you have Jewish interest. No, every country. Listen, This
Arabs
is
or not?
The country.
Arabs or not?
Muhammad.
Aha.
Muhammad, let me speak. Let me speak. We live in a Christian country where the sovereign head of state is a Christian. I'm a Jew. I never felt alienated from the fact that this is a Christian country. Arabs live as equal citizens in a Jewish state.
All right.
You're a Muslim. You know,
Wait a minute, I'm going to give
But you know, the astonishing thing is...
You can actually ask each other questions now.
Muhammad had two Jewish wives, but you won't shake the hand of a Jew. And you know why? That's not Islam. That's Islamism.
All right,
Islamism is deeply anti-Semitic, and it's sad.
We're going to the final part. The final part is where I want to try and end this, right? It's been acrimonious. It's been passionate. I'm not sure we've achieved very much, certainly not as much as I hoped to. I think we're all agreed that Hamas need to go. Many would perhaps agree Netanyahu should also have to go.
He doesn't. He's his friend.
Right. Well, I personally think the will of the Israeli people.
His friend, right?
Democratically elected leader, I believe in
Hamas are democratically elected.
Hamas is a dictatorship. They ended elections a year after they're a dictatorship. That's why Mahmoud Abbas will not go there. He's afraid of them.
Let me finish.
You can't just offer these fraudulences and not be challenged.
We're coming to the final block. This final block doesn't have a thing. I just want to see if we can get to any points of agreement. Right? We've had all the arguments. You've shouted at each other. You've personally abused each other. Yes. Right? You're passionate. You've raised some good points, but they've been mostly shouted out.
I just want to know how he would feel if his son comes back in a black bag like this.
No, you've shown us the pictures, right?
That's such a disgusting
by the way,
how would you like it?
Mohammed,
can we make sure this stays in the show?
I'd like it as much as the pictures.
My son, you know how low that you get?
Yeah.
You attack Ben Shapiro's wife. You're not a real man. Real men don't attack women. Real men don't tell us that 5-year-old girls can have sex. Real men don't speak about another. Yes, you did. You said it. It's on my Instagram. Don't say that 5-year-old girls, creeps pubescent should have sex.
Why are you getting angry with them?
You are talking about my son because you're not a real man. You're a bully.
Why don't you fight an idea?
And if you really believe,
why'd you push your son as a human shield?
You would not be in the safety of a studio in London.
You can
do
find
not bring up my son.
Mendy's
do
here.
not bring up Ben Shapiro's wife. Stop picking on women.
Imagine this is Mendy.
Stop. See, you want a civil debate, but imagine a man saying that your son is dead.
Listen,
you have no morality. You have no decency. You have no goodness. And this debate is apart because this man is here to speak about my sex life. He's here to say my son's going to die. He is a Jew hater. He's an anti-Semite. He's an Islamist. And the fact that this debate has gone along this way, allowing him to evade every question.
You come from European extraction. Are you Polish? Are you Polish?
My father's from Iran, my friend. You know nothing about me. Okay?
You're Ashkenazi.
My father's from Iran. My father was raised around Muslims. And he didn't meet Muslims like you.
I'm more Semitic than you are.
What is the point of it?
The fact that he's been allowed to offer fabrications of Jews killing 3 million people. The fact that he's allowed to offer fabrications that have no source, that the idea of his killing 1,000 to 1. The fact that he's been allowed to tell his lies is a travesty of this show. It's a travesty of the media. The fact that he has not been challenged by you, Piers, is unacceptable. He has evaded every question. The fact that he's allowed to talk about my sex life, Jewish sex life, he's obsessed with people's sex lives. This is a travesty. And the fact that you're not ashamed of how, and the fact that you are not ashamed of how you humiliate Islam. Islam is a great world religion.
You know what, Rabbi Shmuley?
And Muslims should reject this man, not me, not the rabbi. Muslims should reject this man.
It would be a lot easier for me to challenge him, which I have done repeatedly, and actually
let him evade.
Here, his answer. If you allowed me to do my job rather than shout over every single thing he says.
He was interviewing you, Piers. From the first second, he was asking you questions.
No, I wasn't.
He was asking me a perfectly. He was asking me a perfectly legitimate question, which I was trying to answer, but you kept shouting, as you have done for the entire show.
This is not, not a debate.
When you say
a debate that talks about my sex life, attacks women, says my children are going to die. This is not a debate.
For God's sake, put the pictures down.
This is a man who cannot debate. He has to bring in these pictures. Why don't you make arguments instead of showing pictures?
Rabbi
Shmuley, drama. Why do you have to show these pictures?
Why don't the pair of you?
Why don't you care about Muslims being killed by Hamas for 17 years, stealing their money?
Should we just forget this?
Why doesn't it bother you that Ishmael Haniyeh is worth $4 billion?
Shall we? Do you want to even conclude this? Because it's pointless.
It's not me that's speaking. Actually.
I mean, in a way, what do either of you think you've achieved with this?
You know what I've achieved?
I'll
answer that. I'll answer.
The constant personal abuse.
I'll answer. Can I answer that question?
That's a rhetorical question.
I'll tell you what I've achieved. People like Islamists like Muhammad Hijab, and you can answer. If you don't interrupt me, I'll finish with this, and then you can speak. They believe that Israel is going to disappear. They believe that we Jews are afraid of them. They believe that we Jews won't debate them. They believe that we tremble. He did a video last week where he said,
Jews.
"Did you see how they tremble?"
Who's they?
I have seen. Who are they? Who are they?
I didn't say Jews.
Then who did you mean?
So why did you?
Who did you mean?
He
meant the Jews. He won't even say it.
Anti-Semitism can't.
You know why I'm here?
Weak.
You know why I'm here?
You're
Let me
weak.
finish. You know why I'm here?
Anti-Semitism
You know why
can't.
I'm here? I'm here to show
To shut the debate down because you're weak.
We have
you're weak, just like your son. Your son, the coward. Your son, the coward. The idea of coward.
Down the Babylonians.
You might be like this.
We have stared
your son,
down
the idea of
the
coward.
Romans.
That might become back
we
in a black bag.
have stared down the Greeks. We will stare down Muhammad Hijab and the Islamists.
You go fight with your son.
Forever.
Go fight with your son.
We are the eternal nation. So you know what I've achieved? I've shown people like him that we are going nowhere. We're not afraid of them. We don't tremble. We're not afraid. And if we haven't achieved a constructive dialogue, we've tried with the Palestinians for 75 years. We offered them a two-state solution, 1936.
I don't think you've made any attempt to civilize dialogue.
Oh, come on. This was never civilized from the first moment. Okay, this was never civilized.
Actually, it was.
Piers, can I just
respond to that? This was never civilized.
Forget about all this.
A man accusing Israel of killing 3 million Palestinians is a fraudulent lie.
That's not
what he said. A man who cannot cite sources is a lie.
He's
saying that Israel's an apartheid state.
I'm immune to this. Of course, they're apartheid.
20% of the soldiers fighting for Israel are black, by the way.
What do you want to say?
Yeah, they're black, and if you look at the Haaretz newspapers, they're treated as second-class citizens.
Mohammed, what do you want to say in conclusion?
Hold on. I want to say something that he said about the Peel report in 1936, which is a point of historical contention. He doesn't know that. He mentions this in his book as well. He's mentioned it before, 7 times that the Palestinians want peace. He doesn't know what history is, because let me respond to you. In 1936 and 1937, where the Peel report happened under the premiership of Ramsay MacDonald, and then 1939, when the White Paper took place under the premiership of Neville Chamberlain, actually, the Arab Higher Committee, which represented the voice of the Palestinian people, agreed with the conclusions of the Peel report. In 1947, the Arab League agreed with the conclusions of the Peel report. He doesn't know that because
there's no truth to that.
No, I'll give you the sources. Excuse me. I'll give you the sources.
The Mufti of Jerusalem, al-Husseini, said we will never accept it, and then he moved to Germany and lived with Adolf Hitler. That's the truth. The Mufti of Jerusalem was the leader.
Let me give you the sources. Let me give you the sources.
This is pure fraudulence. It's not true. The Mufti of Jerusalem was a Nazi, and he rejected it, and they all followed him. He was a Nazi, correct?
No, he did.
He was a Nazi. The Mufti of Jerusalem was a Nazi.
He wasn't a Nazi. He shook hands with Hitler.
No, he went to live with Hitler.
I don't know if he lived with Hitler.
Forgot about that.
No, I don't know if he lived with
Hitler. He moved to Germany.
You know this is all completely unwatchable, right?
I know.
People at home are just going, what is the matter with these two guys? What is the matter with you?
He wants my nation not to exist, and I want my nation to exist.
Why can't you try and have some civilized dialogue?
No, because I'm answering his questions.
You can't.
Let me speak.
Neither of you can.
Okay, so here's what I'm saying. I'm not interrupting him. I'm saying...
You didn't interrupt me.
You've both done it to each other the entire show.
Okay, here's what I'm saying. In 1936 and 1937, you have the Peel. He said, what's the source? The source is the Encyclopedia of Palestine. So the source is the cablegram, which you can find on the UN website in 1947. I'll tell you the days. On the 15th of May, 1948, which is when one day after the State of Israel was established, according to the UN website, which you can find on the public record as a primary source material, that the Arab League said that we consider the conclusions of the Peel report as acceptable. And in
1948, they said that? 5 Arab nations invaded Israel the next day in the War of Independence.
Yeah, great. Let me tell you why.
1% of the entire Israeli population were murdered by the Arab armies.
Fine.
Did you just say they accepted the state of Israel? Did you really just say that?
I did say that. I said that.
You just said that in 1948 the Arabs accepted the state of Israel.
I'm giving you sources.
Does this show up any credibility
let me give you sources.
You just answered it.
Can I give you sources?
That's what you're there for.
The sources that I'm presenting...
Shmuley. My name is Shmuley.
The sources that I'm presenting you is as follows. Yes, you're right. Of course, there was a war in 1948.
5 Arab nations.
5 Arab nations, only 3 of them crossed the border, according to Rashid in his book, 100-Year War, which I can recommend to you. And other books as well, Albert Horaini and others, secondary source material. But the primary source material is this. In 1947, undoubtedly, it's on the UN website, you can find that the Arab League, they accepted the conclusions of the Peel Commission that took place in 1936, 1937. By the way,
years later?
1940. In 1940.
What about me giving you an example? This is all getting the weeds. Let me take you to the mid-90s, right? The mid-90s, there was a deal,
93,
which was the proper deal,
93,
right? And Arafat at the last minute walked away.
That source.
Well, the source is Bill Clinton, who'd done the deal with him.
The source is Dennis Ross. And let me tell you something.
Bill Clinton says in his memoirs, My Life, he says, I told Yasser Arafat that you made me a failure.
Arafat agreed the deal with Bill Clinton and then reneged on the deal.
Correct. Can I answer? That's wrong.
Looking back,
that's wrong.
It's not wrong.
Can I answer?
It's not wrong, Mohammed. And looking back,
give me a chance to respond.
Let me finish my question to you. And looking back on it, I would simply say, when you look at the entire history of this conflict...
But let me respond to that, please,
that was the moment when real peace could have been achieved?
That's wrong. Let me tell you why, okay? Let me tell you why. And you can both listen to this very carefully and take notes and check me, fact check me.
Just answer the question.
No, go ahead and fact check me. In 1993, you had the Oslo Accords. There was 2 signatories, as you know, Arafat and Rabin, and both of them got the peace prize for that. You know that, everyone knows that, except for
Shimon
Peres.
Pardon?
Peres
Peres, of course, but I'm saying the Prime Minister and Arafat at the time they signed it. You agree, yes? You wrote it in your book. Up until 2000, there were what you call peace conferences that took place. Taba 1, Taba 2, etc., etc. You agree, everyone agrees. All right. In 2000, this is what you're talking about, not 93. Because 93, Arafat...
93 was Oslo 1, 95 was Oslo 2.
No, I know. He's talking about... He's talking about...
Yasser Arafat, Bill Clinton.
Give me a second.
I'm talking about the period when
He's talking about what walked away.
When Arafat and Bill Clinton...
Camp David, correct.
That whole
David,
period
correct.
when Arafat and Clinton
yes.
were negotiating
yes.
and they finally got to a point...
No, he's right. He's saying that he's right because he's saying that in 2000, the Camp David summit...
Camp David.
Yes,
correct.
that summit,
okay,
yes.
Excellent. Now, you see, from 1993 up until 2000, you had these peace conferences. Everyone agrees, okay?
Yes.
In 2000...
And the White River Accords, which is signed by Netanyahu, by the way.
No,
that's the period I'm talking about.
In a second. He was against this whole thing from the beginning.
No, he signed the White River Accords.
Let me come to you. 2000 is what you're talking about walking away. Let me tell you some sources. I'll give you Israeli source. Because I know Dennis Ross is what do you call it? He's a biased source, right-wing, Zionist, whatever. I'll give you another Zionist source. His name is...
What's the point of this?
His name is Ben Ommi. He's Ben Ami.
What's the point of this?
Ben Ami mentioned that the deal that was struck in 2000, he wouldn't accept it himself if he was a Palestinian. That's what he said in his words. In his memoirs. Number one. Number two is, if you consider what happened...
I don't know who Ben Ami is. He seems to be the most
check it out. Check it out. Google it.
He could be a columnist.
He's not insignificant. He was part of the Accords. No, let me, please.
You know what? It doesn't matter.
No, it does matter, because you're saying they walked away. It's not... That's according to one source.
I've read Bill Clinton's biography, but he tells the whole
he's getting it from Dennis Ross. He's getting it from Dennis Ross.
No, he was there.
I believe Bill Clinton.
No, he's getting it...
Okay, let me just be clear. Bill Clinton and Ehud Barak offered Arafat 97% of the West Bank, Judea, and Samaria. Wait.
So
and not only did Arafat not accept the deal, Arafat didn't even counter. He left without countering. And then when Arafat was leaving and he shook Bill Clinton's hand, this is the story that Bill Clinton tells in his book, My Life, he shook his hand and he said, Mr. Clinton, you're a great man. And then Clinton looked him in the eye and said, I'm not a great man. I'm a failure. Yep. And you have made me one, Mr.
Correct. So you both of you are going to one source.
No, wait. But then let's get... It gets better. It gets better.
I'm giving you multiple sources.
It was widely reported.
It gets better. In 2008... In 2008...
You're wrong, Mohammed.
How am I wrong? Give me your source.
It was Arafat.
The source is the president of the United States.
He's biased like every other person.
Arafat walked away from the best deal.
No, that's wrong. That's wrong.
In the whole conflict.
Let me explain something.
In my estimation...
Do you believe
Piers, let me respond to you.
Do you believe Forbes magazine?
Let me respond.
Do you believe Forbes magazine that Arafat died a billionaire?
Can we make
it civil?
Make it civil.
Maybe Arafat didn't want an end to the...
Are you scared? Are you scared of my response?
Are you scared? I don't think so.
Great,
you use the word scared a lot.
Okay, don't run away. Go ahead. Respond. Okay,
run away?
Don't run away. 1990.
I'm right here, Mohammed.
Okay, great.
Right here. I'll get closer to you if you allow me to.
Stop shouting, Rabbi Shmuley.
93, as we said, there was all these accords from 93 to 2000. Now, in what were the contentions? Let me tell you what the contentions were on the Oslo Accords. Number one, Jerusalem. Number two, the settlements. Number three, the occupied territories. Number four, the borders. That's what they were mentioning. Yeah.
You forgot the refugees. Which was the most contentious.
Yeah, sorry, refugees.
You forgot that completely.
Okay, the refugees, correct. Which is the right to return law, and we know this apartheid anyway. But anyways,
no, it's not apartheid.
Okay,
every country in Europe allows people with ancestry.
You have a point, Mohammed.
Okay, I do have a point, which is as follows.
What is it?
They divided the areas into area A, B, and C. Okay.
That was Oslo 2 in 95.
Okay, yeah, sure. So what I'm saying is, in that time, the question is who was treacherous to the agreement? Because we know that, as you know, you condemned the settlements. That was part of the Oslo Accords.
No. The people who were treacherous was Arafat, who was giving the terrorists money to kill Jews. 1,000 Jews died, which is the equivalent here in Britain of 30,000 people being killed in terror attacks.
All right.
Can I ask Mamba one question, please? You said Oslo 1, Oslo 2. May I ask you one question?
I don't know if I want you to ask me any question.
Well, you don't have to answer. But
so this is the point. This is a myth.
How much of the Palestinian population in the West Bank, as you call it, is controlled right now by the Palestinian Authority? What percentage of the Palestinians are under Mahmoud Abbas? You won't answer it. You don't know, do you?
None of it, because all of it is IDF.
He doesn't even know.
All of it is controlled by the IDF.
Answer how many are controlled?
None of it.
Not according to Mahmoud Abbas.
No.
You know the answer
all of it is controlled by the
97%.
Okay, here's what we're going to do.
97%.
Do you know what it's like?
I'm going to end the show by you both having a minute uninterrupted,
Sure.
to summarise, right?
Let him go first, it's no problem.
How you think we move on from here? Because clearly anyone watching this is going to see two completely intractable sides, right? This is what I see on Twitter all day long.
Right.
I see people on the Israeli side and on the pro-Palestinian side, and they scream at each other all day long, right? They say some things that are right, some things that are wrong.
As well.
Whatever. There's this kind
You'll get you involved in it.
Well, you both said to me before we sat down, I don't want to speak
out of himself.
Speak out of turn, but you both said to me independently.
So now it's the two of us ganging up on him.
Well,
Finally, okay.
You both said to me before we started, you said that the American Jewish community were very pleased with what I'd done on the show.
They are.
And you said that the Muslim world were pleased with what I'd done on the show. And I took that as a perfect extrapolation of what we've been trying to achieve, which is giving both sides a voice and a platform. And
So let me do my minute.
What has not worked? What has not worked?
Yeah.
Is bringing you together like this, because actually it's been an ear-thumping, screaming match. So you're now going to get a minute each to summarise, right?
You can go
and
first.
in the summary, I want to see if we can at least pretend to be constructive here, right?
Okay.
Because the world needs this somehow to end.
Okay.
So, Rabbi Shmuel, you go first.
First of all, Mohammed, thank you very much for wearing the Israeli colours. Thank you for your support of the Jewish state. We greatly appreciate it. I should have done the same. Secondly, I'm sorry you wouldn't shake my hand. I will shake your hand any time, because I do believe what Piers said. We have to have peace and harmony going forward. It's a shame that you said no. Third, peace will come when my Arab brothers and sisters, who are the green on this map, accept that tiny little thing that I'm covering with my finger, that tiny little thing called Israel. And when they understand that Israel is not the Jewish homeland, Israel is actually the great Arab hope. If our Arab brothers and sisters get the economic prosperity of Israel, the rights for women, the rights for freedom of assembly, to criticize their governments without fear, the way the people in Hamas, in Gaza would be murdered by Hamas, let alone in Palestinian Authority, they'd be thrown in jails. Israel's the great hope. Let me just say this. Islam is a great world religion. It created the world's first universities. It introduced agricultural reforms in Europe under Sultan Akbar in India 400 years before Europe. You had Al-Razi, who introduced medical reforms 600 years before the
All right.
And if we return to that kind of advance, not the Islam that is being advocated by Muhammad Hijab, which is antiquated and dark ages, then we will have peace.
Okay.
So God bless my Muslim brothers and sisters, and I will shake your hand anytime.
Mohammed, a minute for you.
As I said before, and I'll say it again, justice is a prerequisite for peace. If this was the case that it was South Africa and both nations had a long and known history with each other, Israel and South Africa. There's a book called The Secret Alliance that you can read for your further information. If this was South Africa and the blacks were kicked out of their country, they were kicked out of their country by the whites, like the Nakba, 700,000 Palestinians were kicked out. And then they had the audacity to talk about peace. Nobody would be accepting it. The apartheid laws of South Africa are the same, effectively, as the apartheid laws of Israel. You're not allowed to come back to the country unless you are of a specific ethnicity which meets the requirement for apartheid. They're 100-to-1 ratio of being killed in Gaza. This seems to be acceptable to Shmuley, unholy Shmuley. It seems to be acceptable to him.
It's a good rhyme.
Not acceptable.
It's a very good rhyme. At least a little bit of comedy.
It's not acceptable to me. It's not acceptable to the people. When we see these images, it's absolutely not acceptable. So peace is justice requirement for peace.
By the way, it's Shmuley, not Shmuley. It doesn't rhyme.
You don't get to go all over.
Doesn't matter what your name is.
Look, I found that quite a dispiriting hour. I've got to be honest with you.
Doesn't matter.
I thought both of you let yourselves down. I gave you a great opportunity here.
We gave you an
to try and
opportunity as well, Piers. Come on.
Well, fine, you can say what you like about me. I don't care.
We gave you an audience. You gave us an audience.
It's fine, but it's not just about the audience. It's about a big audience, which we're getting for all these shows, about a big audience seeing people try to come together.
Don't be sanctimonious, though.
Nobody here has seen you even try to come together.
Why would
it's dispiriting to me.
Piers,
what can I do?
Piers, with all due respect, since
try harder.
I believe. You know, I believe.
Do you agree with apartheid?
I believe in
try harder, as Nelson Mandela did when he came
out.
Nelson Mandela could have gone down this road when he came out of prison after 27 years.
And they called him a terrorist then. They called him a terrorist.
No, wait a minute.
Yeah, they did.
He could have come out of prison and he could have taken the path of vengeance.
He did.
Instead,
he was violent.
Instead,
what are you talking about?
He took the path of peace.
He was violent.
He took the path
of reconciliation.
What are you talking about?
When he came out of prison, he took the path of peace.
He was violent.
And
you called him a terrorist. The British called him a terrorist.
I take constructive criticism, and I will think about what you said.
And Mandela was pro-Palestine.
But I will tell you.
He was against
But I will tell you. If you bring two people on to a debate, and you're saying that we let you down our audience.
Don't give him lessons.
Okay.
Don't give him lessons.
When you bring people,
he's a very successful man.
When you bring two people,
man.
and you allow.
I'll be quiet, man.
One to bring up
Don't give them lessons.
stuff that is so just embarrassing, like people's sex lives.
You both
everything else.
30 books
no,
on
I did
sex.
not. No, I did not.
Yes, you did.
I did. No,
sex? No?
Oh, I'm proud of my books on sex, but this is a debate about the Middle East.
I don't care about your sex lives, either of you. All right.
Seem to be really interested
That's
in mine, Mohammed.
it from me. Whatever you're up to.
We'll talk later.
Keep it uncensored. Good night.
هل أنت من البنائين الأحرار؟ هل أنت ماسوني؟
بشرفك. هلق أنت جاي من اليمن وجاي تعمل لي مسرحيات وكذا؟ يا زلمي لك روح العب لك شغلة ثاني. أنا عم بسألك سؤال وكذا. ماسوني؟ أنا ماسوني وصهيوني وسلفي وبراغماتي وحنفاكوشي وشنكليشي وحنكليشي وقنطريشي. بدك غير هيك؟
جميل.
وصهيوني.
الآن
أوكي؟
نبدأ
وبعصي.
نبدأ مسار
يلا جاوب على سؤالي.
أوكي.